Counting your blessing one after the other, and definitely you will know that the Lord is good all the time. Am I sounding like a pastor or a prophet this morning? A very good morning to you, Olamide Adeyemi.
Good morning, Emmanuel. You sounded
Saturday.
like a pastor, actually. I wish the audience could have told you that. How are you this morning?
Fine, great. And
I mean, we matched this morning.
Yeah. You know, it's the same spirit when you come every Saturday to ensure that Nigerians are well informed with entertainment and also sports segments. It's a bumper package this morning.
I mean, it's also your job anyways. It's a good thing, to bring Nigerians up to speed on major issues affecting the polity.
And, last week we were here talking about the protest. And on Sunday we saw the president appealing to protesters to share the protest and also reeling out some of the government's achievements and those interventions that he has put in place to revamp the economy. And all of this over the weekend and throughout the week, we saw developments and happenings in the country.
We actually saw developments and happenings. So many reactions have followed that speech by the president, and even the president posted another video on Twitter, just to reassure Nigerians. We've had so many analysts talk about what should have been done, what the president should do, what the protesters should do, what security agencies too should have done. But I think this is the time for peace, and the president has extended the hand of dialogue. Perhaps that should be what we should be talking about now.
And we hope that the dialogue will bring more benefits of democracy to Nigerians.
To Nigerians, of course.
And of course, this morning, we'll be looking at one of the interventions, talking about the Net Fund, the education sector, and the student loan. We'll be talking about that on the program this morning. It promises to be interesting, educative, and informative. And
As
that's why
usual.
you need not to leave the screen as we bring to you all the nitty-gritty in the country this morning. Now, fire disaster in Nigeria has become a major concern for both citizens and the government because it could go from bad to worse in a split second. Market shops, complexes and offices, residents, buildings, and also filling stations have been affected. In all of this, good property worth millions of naira have been lost to inferno. Some of these fire outbreaks have led to loss of lives. And one of the recent outbreaks is the gas explosion that left 7 persons injured and caused damage worth millions of naira to some residents in Lagos. We have details in this particular report.
For the second time in 2 months, retail outlets of petrol dispensing stations in Lagos have been affected by one fire incident or the other. Thursday's incident at the Ikeja area of Lagos State is caused by a gas cylinder truck unloading its content at the station. Unknown to the gas attendant, the cooking gas started leaking from a damaged valve, filling the air while petrol was being sold to vehicles parked at various dispensing points.
Suddenly we just see crowd. Just see smoke, just in form of a smoke. This tanker that came to discharge gas, you just see I don't know whether they opened it. The thing just leak everywhere, just full of smoke. We couldn't even see ourselves again.
It took emergency responders about 2 hours to quell the fire and prevent it from escalating to the surroundings. Although there were no casualties recorded as at the time of filing this report, 1-year-old Michael Abu is yet to fully figure out what the next few months will look like for his family of 7. He came to the filling station to buy 7,000 naira worth of petrol, but now in his hands, he has a loss of about 3.2 million naira.
This is the only source of my income. I don't have any other thing doing apart from this bus. I'm a family man with 5 children. As you can see now, I'm jobless for now. So I don't know any help that they will render to us.
Apart from the 12-ton gas cylinder truck, the explosion affected another gas cylinder, the gas station and supermarket within the filling station. At least 8 cars, both commercial and private vehicles, and a 2-story building close to the gas station.
Gas explosion is most vulnerable and highly inflammable content. Due to the effective and efficient response operations, the escalation was drastically contained. There is a high level of insurance plan for this kind of incident. So I hope Mobile will take responsibility because for every risk that comes, there should be a risk transfer.
The Lagos State Emergency Management Agency is advising petrol dispensing stations to take safety measures seriously. The agency says it will engage stakeholders in the petroleum sector and ask them to review operational processes while discharging petroleum product. Sarah Ayeku, TVC News, Lagos.
Now joining us live in the studio to discuss more on the issue of fire incidences in the country is the Chief Fire Officer, Head Monitoring and Enforcement at Lagos State Fire Service, Olukotun Odunayo. A very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us on TVC Breakfast Saturday this morning.
You're welcome.
Fire outbreaks in Nigeria have become a recurring decimal. Are you not worried or concerned about this outbreak that is making Nigerians to forfeit their property and lives?
So much concern about that. You know, the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, we've been so much concerned about that, and you know, a lot of fund has been expended on the fire service by the government. You know, and you know, fire, it's not just the business of firefighters alone. It's everybody's business. You know, it's everyone that needs to be concerned about that. And what we discover is most people take fire with levity. And you know, fire is a kind of disaster that can create a great loss in a short while. And we want everyone to be concerned. We want it to be a business of everybody. And that was part of the reason why we had the recent fire conference that we had in Lagos Island. You know, it's of a great concern to the state government, to the fire service, and we want everybody to come together, every stakeholder to come together, and let us discuss fire. You know, you don't just leave it to government alone, and you don't just leave it to fire service alone, but we want to discuss it. We want to see way out of the challenges we're having. We want to see way we can save our economy of this great loss. And that's so it's of a great concern to fire service.
All right, you know, just to take a peek into what you discussed at the conference, what exactly is the problem? Why is it so common now? Is it an issue of a lack of awareness or a lack of, you know, enforcement mechanism?
Actually, it's not actually that alone. You know, it's part of our challenges. You know, a lot of people some know about it, but they don't really put it to practice. While some, you know, they just believe fire cannot just burn. You know, a lot of us do that a lot. You know, sensitization programs like this, we expect you to listen, educate the family, educate your children. You know, we don't limit fire to the head of the family alone. We want everyone to be aware. You know, you just brought in a mate from the village, you just brought in someone who has never used a gas cooker before. We want you to educate the person before telling the person to go ahead to use it, because he has never seen the other part of the gas before. He only see it cook, and he has never seen it explode. You know, so that's why we want you to educate everybody. We don't just want you to make it a government thing alone. We don't want you to leave it to the hand of fire service alone. It may be our job, but at least it's everybody's business.
Very interesting. It's your job and to ensure that fire outbreaks are nipping bud in the country. How proactive is the fire service in Nigeria? Especially, you can narrow it down even in Lagos to put off outbreaks in the country.
Well, you know, not quite long, a few years back, the Lagos State government commissioned about 62 fire trucks. And since Mr. Governor came in, he's been so magnanimous enough to the fire service, because safety of lives and property is of a great concern to him. You know, it's part of the agenda of a smart city. You know, you can't build a smart city where safety cannot be guaranteed. So I think that was part of the reason why the Lagos State government could procure up to about 62 fire trucks, you know, at a go. I don't think that has ever happened in the history of fire service in Nigeria. You know, the governor did that, and that was why you saw our response to the fire occurrence that happened recently this week. Yeah. It was very swift, it was very effective, and in just a while, we could nip the fire on the bud. So that shows that, we have very good support.
Sorry, what's the response time?
No, our response time, I think, wasn't that much. I think it was just about 5 minutes we're there. It was at Allen Avenue. Immediately our men were called, in just a while. They were there. And that was why the fire did not, you saw the magnitude of the fire. You were there now. You saw it even on the social media. And just a fire of that nature, we're able to put it out in minutes. That shows that our response
You're quite
was
proactive
and not bad.
So can you also talk to us about, perhaps educate the public about, the numbers to call? So many persons still do not have
Yes,
as regards that.
we have the toll-free line in Lagos, and we want everyone to still, you go to corporate settings and they don't know this toll-free line. And this line has been existing for over 17 years. Some still tell you 119, 999. No, that's not what we use in Lagos. 767 or 112. 767 or 112 is for all kinds of emergency in Lagos State. Not only fire, it's for ambulance, it's for police. Even collapse of building, the 767. And also when you place your call, please, you give a detailed information. At times, someone, hello, there is fire, and the call is out. And you try the number, it's no longer picking or it's no longer getting through. So we always want a detailed information. If possible, you even tell us what is on fire, so that when coming, we would have planned towards what's on fire. It's high-rise building, it's a falling tanker. If what we have in the vehicle will not be sufficient to combat that kind of fire, would have be making an assistant message en route that scene. We won't get to the scene before calling for assistance. The plan would have been going on alongside moving to the scene.
What are the safety measures put in place by your agency to ensure that Nigerians are aware that these are the things you need to do to forestall any fire outbreak?
Yes, we have different sensitization programs, radio programs, market enlightenment programs, parks. We do that a lot in Lagos.
How often?
Quarterly, it's been done. We visit markets, we visit parks, we visit even corporate organizations, even state government establishments. It's mandated for us. We visit them to ensure we sensitize them so that we can make safety part of everybody. We just need to make it part of us. It's not enough to have everything. You may have it, and an unplanned incident will just take it away, like fire. So that's why it should be our concern. Everyone should ensure they do the right thing. Like the issue of the gas cylinder, we've been saying it severally. Cylinders are meant to be installed outside the kitchen, not in the kitchen. Fire starts from burner, but the cylinder is more disastrous than the burner. So you keep it outside your kitchen, run your hose to where you have the burner, and in case of fire, you can quickly go outside and shut the valve of the cylinder. And by doing that, you have cut fuel away from the burning object. And in no time, the fire will be out. Or probably if the fire is not out, it will be easier for you to combat since you have cut off the supply of fuel into the burning fire. And apart from that, a pressurized cylinder in your apartment can be disastrous. In case there is fire in that building, the fire may not necessarily from the kitchen, maybe from any part of the building. And the heat in that apartment rises to a certain degree. The cylinder will explode like bomb, and is always very expensive. In some situations, it can break the decking of a building. And that is why when a building is on fire, and after a while you hear something like a blast, wow, in that building, they have gas cylinder right in that building. That's why we say install your gas cylinder outside your kitchen and run your hose to where you have your burner. In case of fire, you have cut off the supply of fuel from the burning object.
All right. So I believe, this awareness is actually better as regards, prevention and not even afterwards. But we see some videos online where just before the fire service comes, you see persons throwing sand, throwing urine, throwing all sorts, even flammable objects. Perhaps this is an issue of awareness. what should be done before the fire service comes?
Yes, the first thing we recommend, or we let everybody know, you need to have extinguishers. Let your fire extinguishers be readily available. And we've seen so many situations where there's fire, you just see someone from the nearest or a close. I've used it severally in my house, my fire extinguishers. I've never used it in my apartment, but I've used it for my neighbors anytime there's fire. I bring it out and let's have an active fire extinguisher. And secondly, no fire starts big. Every fire starts from a very small state. And if you know the right thing to do at that small state, the fire will not degenerate to be the big fire that you won't be able to manage anymore. And you see those big fires, like what happened at Dosumo Market. You saw how big that fire was, and over 200 shops were affected. That's means of livelihood. And automatically, directly or indirectly, it's going to have economic impact on the states. Because those people, they are part of our economy. They are part of our day-to-day activities. So we need to just have those things in place, have fire extinguishers, active ones. And it's meant to be serviced regularly. So make sure they are active. And in case of fire, you should be able to use them. And why people see them with sand is because they don't have extinguishers. But at least if it's not electrical fire, you can apply water.
Is there a timeline to make your fire extinguisher active? You made mention of gas cylinders earlier. Is there any expiring date that Nigerians can also check to ensure that, okay, because I know some people, when the gas cylinders is not doing well anymore, or is having some stains on it, or it's been, what they do is they'll go in there, give it to someone to spray. Is that the right thing to do?
No, that's not the appropriate thing.
So how do you check the expiring dates?
Yeah, what I tell people to do is when time you go to refill your gas cylinder, tell them at the gas station, at the gas plant, that please kindly help me check the cylinder if it's okay. There are some of the gas stations that even you're bringing it in and they discover the cylinder is no longer safe, they will let you know. But some, they don't really care. But if you ask, in most situations, there was a time I had a gas cylinder and I told them when I got that, can I still continue? He checked it and told me it is still intact. But after about a year, I took it there again and the guy that wanted to refill told me, this cylinder is no longer, and I condemned it immediately. I did not even refill it anymore. I just went home to pick another one. And that was the end of gas cylinder. It's not what you manage. When you are being told your cylinder is no longer intact, the havoc it can cause is far more than the cost of that cylinder. So it's better for you to replace it.
All right. So let's take it away from the homes to the filling stations. Focusing on awareness is very important. That's why. Because sometimes you see some persons, even at first station, not only gas stations, where they're smoking, they're using their phones, and there's no one to, ensure compliance, ensure that those who are filling at that time are not, going against some of the rules. Perhaps the fire service has done something.
Yes, it's part of the enlightenment we give to gas fillings, gas plant owners or gas station owners. Safety needs to be complied to. You need to just obey due to the volatility of the product you deal with. An error that will be done by a production company, may be expensive on a gas station. So for a gas station, you just need to comply. You don't need to tolerate, you don't need to allow that. Because, gas is, you are dealing with fuel, but the fuel is in the atmosphere. It's not what you can, if it's PMS products, you may see the liquid content on the floor. And the liquid content is coming, can we do that? But if it's gas, it's saturating the atmosphere, it's saturating the air. You can never, if there is a gas discharge here now, and you are being covered by the fuel, you won't know. You won't know. You only perceive slightly. But the level of the concentration may be far more than what you are thinking of or what you are expecting. So, and that is why we say you need to be safety compliant.
That's a fine place to leave it. Mosime, thanks for joining us on the program. Chief Fire Officer and Head Monitoring Enforcement, Lagos State Fire Service, Olukotun Odunayo. Thank you so much for joining us on the
I
program
will
this
still
morning.
emphasize our numbers,
Okay.
767 or 112.
12.
And in case that's the Lagos Fire Service hotline, 0033235891. If there is any careless attitude you want to report, you can direct it to that line.
Can you repeat that again? Okay.
33235891.
Olukotun Odunayo, thank you so much for
Thank you
joining
very
us
much.
on the program.